Yes, we are. Hey, everybody, welcome once again to another edition of Come Together right here on WKDW 97.5 FM Real Community Radio. I'm your host, Pete O'Shea. I'm the Executive Director of Divine Global Recovery, a local nonprofit that does disaster relief, storm preparation education, environmental education, and youth mentoring. I'm here with my co-host, the lovely and talented, and yes, I must say it again, I'm contractually obligated to say she's lovely and talented because she is my wife as well. Shannon Elizabeth Fitzpatrick O'Shea, the likes of you now. How are you now?
The likes of you, baby.
Yeah, and you're with Nice Restoration.
I am. I'm the marketing director at Nice Restoration, which is our parent company of Divine Global Recovery, and we thank the founders, Chet and Dina, for their heart to serve and give back and really reach out to those who are desperate.
And that's what we want to talk about in this show. As we speak right now, we have a crew in Louisiana where Hurricane Ida just absolutely ravaged that area. Just a little bit, southwest of New Orleans. And that whole area now is a war zone. It's literally a third world country, boys and girls. There is no running water. There's no power. There's no way to get food. There's no way to get medicine. There's no way to get gas. The only gas station in the one small town is running on a generator as we speak.
I saw that video that was sent by our founder yesterday.
Yep, checked right out with it. And the line for gas was well over a mile long. The line to get water was well over a mile long. Mm-hmm. And so when you think about that, that's not happening, like we said, in the third world country. And you know, you've visited many, and I'm going to make the parallel between the two in this show. But this is happening right here in the United States of America. And I can't help but to think, where is FEMA when you really need them? Where are the groups that's supposed to be doing this? And these people are now in really big trouble at the moment.
They certainly are, and it brings to mind some of my trips to Haiti, for instance. We would plan out a good year in advance to take teams to Haiti. Why? Because you have to think of the safety of your team. You have to make sure you have proper lodging, food. We bring a lot of food. We bring a lot of water. We always brought suitcases and suitcases full of medications because everyone has a parasite. When you're
Why did you look at me when you said parasite?
Well, you did lose a lot of weight.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. Okay, yeah, go
ahead. But there's just things you have to consider. But when you're facing, and you prepare, you do the best you can to prepare. But there's always something that's going to go wrong. There's always a direction you're going to have to turn because you're dealing with a corrupt government. You're dealing with weird cultural issues and a social climate that's unruly. However, you're talking about this happening in our United States of America, and it just seems so fresh and so familiar to me.
When you were describing that as what is Haiti, it sounded like you were talking about our government and what's going on with us. Look, these wonderful folks in Louisiana at the moment need everybody to pitch in and help. Yesterday, our crew went to a senior living facility. And they don't have air conditioning in the rooms now for the people. They're barely able to keep the medical machines running. Their insulin and other vital things they can't.
Things that need to be refrigerated. That these are challenges that we consider. Even like when my dad would travel with me to third world countries, he's diabetic, so he would have to pack his insulin on ice packs and like refrigerated little thermos like lunch boxes and hope that that's going to last 5 days.
Wow.
And when you're going somewhere without electricity, you're just now giving your insulin shot kind of.
Simple things that we take for granted every day. You turn on the light, it's going to work, right? You turn on the faucet, the water's going to come out. Okay, but there's no guarantee every day that's going to happen. And again, when Ida comes roaring through there with winds of over 150 miles an hour, rips telephone poles out. There was a giant radio receiver, a big giant tower that got completely torn off. Okay, traffic lights in the middle of the street. At one point, there was a piece of the road that got, a good large chunk of the highway just crashed down in, and now you'd have to do a leap over it like you were smoking a bandit or something.
Or like Blues Brothers.
Like Blues Brothers. It's the only way you could get from there to there. And you say, this is getting scary. And then again, it's not happening in a third world country. It's happening right now to our friends and neighbors in Louisiana. And we're so fortunate, again, Chet Neese and Patrick and some of our crew is out there, and they're getting a chance to work with a wonderful organization that I know called the Cajun Navy.
How did you find out about the Cajun Navy?
It's interesting how I did. Back when we had the talk show in St. Pete, there was a movie getting shot in town, and John Schneider was in that movie from Dukes of Hazzard.
I know him well.
Yeah, you had a little crush on him, did you?
Did.
Well, yeah, I understand that.
I liked Bo. My sister liked Luke.
Is that right? Okay.
But, you know, I'm blonde. He's blonde. She was a brunette. He was brunette. So that was kind of...
I was a Daisy Duke fan
I'm
myself.
sure you were.
I mean, it had to be. I think it was had to be. But anyway, John come over and was a guest on the show. Wonderful man. Very funny, very cool guy. And he wrote a song about them. He's also an accomplished singer-songwriter.
I saw that.
Who's recorded many albums. And he wrote a song called The Cajun Navy.
Okay.
And while he was there with us, somebody from the Cajun Navy actually called in, and they started explaining to us. This is an organization that, again, was birthed by the absolute need. When Katrina went through the area, the levees broke, as you know. And now the water was 8, 10, 20 feet deep in every neighborhood. Not off the sides of where the water is, everywhere. So you couldn't even get a truck or a car or anything into these people.
Are they the guys that have the flatbed boats?
That's exactly right.
Or the airboats like we'd see in like the Everglades?
Both of those. They have those flat bottom wood boats so that they can put as much supplies in there as possible. Mm-hmm. You know, canned goods, water, medical supplies, and they were literally going into these areas nobody could get to. And it started this wonderful thing. Now, it's under sad conditions that it happened, but they stayed together. They're now a huge organization. I like their Facebook. One of their Facebook pages has 125,000 members, and they're out there. They get they're immediate responders, and they have now access to the goods and services everybody needs. When you think about it for a second, you can't drive to work because you have no gas and nowhere to get it.
Your car might be underwater.
Car might be underwater. You can't eat or have any without food. You're not going to make it.
Yeah.
We can make a couple of days.
I saw on one of their social media pages they had a helicopter drop ship some food down to a central location, and then they dispersed with the flat bottom boats from there. And you think about that, we have to do things like that, but we have to do things like that.
And it's outside organizations that have to do it because our government is letting our people down again. What a shocker. They're not coming through. So thank God for the Cajun Navy. Thank God for the Red Cross and some of the other organizations. We're heading there on Saturday with more people and more food. Because again, we're just trying to do our part. We're a small, brand new nonprofit, but we were all about disaster relief because the Neeses do disaster work every year. They fix the buildings.
They do the water mitigation and restore property after fire damage or mold. We just posted up on the Neese page today, just one of our local crews just pulling out a bunch of stuff. Somebody just didn't leave their air on while they were snowbirding and came back to mold everywhere.
And that's dangerous. That's deadly. Mold is deadly. People don't realize that.
You and I both had bad...
I had mold poisoning once. It was really, really bad, okay? And you had it also at one point. And you don't even realize, maybe most houses don't even realize you've got mold buildup. If you live here in Florida, humidity alone is going to play a factor. But again, you don't have the air conditioner going. There's one little teeny pipe. Something inside the wall is leaking. That's what happened in my case. Something inside of a wall was leaking. It was months before I knew it. One day I step on a tile and it's squishy, and I'm going, wait a minute, what's going on here? So all that time you're exposed to that. So now these folks in Louisiana have to go through that now. You think you had to wear a mask before? If you're down in that area right now, you better mask up because the toxins and the mold and all the stuff, all the dust and debris that came flying up.
Yeah, we got to think about just the people that are at risk, health-wise, not just with COVID and everything, but these people are now being exposed to things in the standing water, and people are going to have more asthma problems and etc. We need to really consider and be intentional on the types of things we do to minister to these people.
Yeah.
And we can't, food's great, water's great, sanitizing equipment is great, but let's get a little bit more creative and outside the box and think about those things like our producer was talking about, the insulin for the diabetics, and the things that are inhalers, things that are very important to certain people groups, and we need to specify what those people groups are and go and find them.
Because again, those are the people that can't even shout out they need help, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, the people that shout the loudest get the help right away.
Right.
And what also happens is the help gets funneled to the, better neighborhoods, and it gets funneled to those, it isn't always, what do you call it, clean deal, you know?
You and I saw that in the Tampa Bay area when Irma came. Was it Irma?
Yeah, it was Irma.
Hurricane Irma, that was like 3 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And the wealthier neighborhoods were getting their power put on first. And then we had to go get a truck, pick up a bunch of donated food, and actually go house to house in the lower income neighborhoods that had no power still for weeks. And this was just a Category 1 hurricane.
And at that point, too, it wasn't enough to just bring the food. A grill had to be brought because they had no way to cook any food. You could bring them food, but they had no way to cook it.
Yeah, you can bring non-perishables, but every once in a while you're going to need a hot meal.
You need protein.
Yeah,
you need meat.
We brought in a huge, gigantic grill and just kind of, when we were delivering food door to door, saying, come down the street in the parking lot at such and such a time and bring a plate and we'll feed you.
And they all come, and again, we saw yesterday, if you go on our Facebook page, Divine Global Recovery, you'll see a series of videos from right there in Louisiana, the lines just to get water. And it was pouring rain again yesterday there. And they were all out there, standing in the pouring rain, passing out bottled water to people. Mm-hmm. And you just mentioned something else a second ago. You said standing water. Standing water causes mosquitoes to lay on top of that. That leads to encephalitis, which you had that also, didn't you?
I had Hashimoto's encephalitis.
Hey, don't be cursing on this radio.
However, your brain actually swells, and you get psychotic episodes and delusions, and I almost died from it. I had to go on a major steroid therapy in the hospital for weeks.
For weeks, I remember that. You were in the hospital for quite a long. And these are the things we don't think of right away, okay? And again, it's great to pack up some canned goods and some water, but there's so much more. The need is so great, and it's going to be an extensive haul now. This doesn't just get repaired overnight. They're saying now it could be weeks before they have power again. Can you imagine that? We're now in September, right? And it's still pretty humid and sticky, I can't handle 2 minutes without air conditioning myself personally. I could be on the Olympic sweating team. I don't know if anybody knew that. In fact, I was on the Olympic sweating team in 1980, but Jimmy Carter did the boycott, and I didn't get to go to Russia.
Being someone that lives with you and works with you, you don't handle that having air conditioning.
I can't, and I need it like down in the 60s. I'm a polar bear kind of guy, and again, just to breathe right, to feel comfortable, because you got allergies and this and that. So imagine now that it's going to be weeks before these folks have power again. Even just a simple thing of being able to put on the radio, to listen to some songs, to just help you feel better. Put on a show on the TV. They can't do that right now. They're not even getting good cell service, so they can't even do it on their phone.
Yeah, we were having trouble getting just the videos they were sending us, our team was sending us, downloaded properly because, they had to just upload them to the cloud. And
then we had to sit there and wait for them because, again, the simple things we all take for granted, the infrastructure things, the roads, the water, the power, gasoline, all that kind of stuff, in an instant, could be a problem for everybody. That is now the equivalent, Louisiana, of a third world or almost fourth world nation.
Oh, yeah.
And you have more experience than anybody of knowing that your life is in danger just by standing in the middle of that.
And that's what, it's unfortunate that we can't really prepare like we would want to take a team, because things happen and you got to go. So a lot of our preparation is
on the fly,
but also kind of generic in steps, and then all of a sudden you just got to mobilize. But when you're going somewhere, you have to think about these things and really think, okay, do I have the proper transportation? Do I have meals? Who's going to cook those meals?
Right.
Who's going to sanitize? Who's going to do this? Where am I going to get the gas? I've been to countries where we've had to actually take a tube, and I've literally had teammates take a tube, put it in a gas can of a truck that had some gas, inhale hot enough without swallowing it, and then put it into our car.
Whoa.
And I've had that experience 3 times at least.
Wow.
Just to get from point A to point B. And that's like a normal thing that you deal with in a third world country, but
I'm frustrated if I got to wait online to get gas, and you're telling me that, you know what I mean? And again, we just take it for granted. We take it. And where is our government in this? These guys now, these meteorologist dudes, are pretty precise at picking these stuff up, and they know weeks in advance when these storms are coming. So why are the boots on the ground ahead of time? Why don't we ever be ahead of things as a federal government? We're always a day late and a dollar short.
Well, I don't really like talking politics, babe, but you go ahead and do it all
It's
you
not
want.
even politics. It's that was what the government was meant to do. Joe, you want to weigh in? You stand there, Joe. You want to weigh in on that? That was what our government was supposed to do. Take care of these kinds of things. Be there for the people. Right, Joe?
Well, yeah, and there's plenty of time to be early rather than be late.
Yeah.
Let's not worry about votes. Let's worry about doing your job, taking care of us, the people.
That's right. And again, they could have been there weeks in advance and gotten everything prepared and everything. But guess what? Those people may not vote for him. So, you know, and they're in the middle of 3 other crises. So our people suffer. Our people are still suffering in Afghanistan. There was a shooting in North Carolina at a school yesterday. And, you know, we're wondering, when are you going to show up? When are you going to do what you got to do? But let's not get all down and into that. Let's try and be positive and uplifting. Guys, we got to be there for these folks. Again, we're going to be going this Saturday with more stuff. If you want to reach out to us, you can call 844-99-DIVINE, or you go to our Facebook page of Divine Global Recovery. Go and look at the whole thing of it. You'll see it's a whole video and diary of everything we are and what we're trying to do. And we're going to be heading out on Saturday. Also, look up the Cajun Navy. I want you to go to, they have several different Facebook pages. Help them, send them a little donation. Even just send them some words of encouragement. We've been doing that. We've been every day sending little messages to those guys. We're proud of you, you're heroes. Because you know also, when you're in a search and rescue mission, which is what it is right now, there's no time off. There's no rest because there's so many. The need is so incredible.
You're gonna be getting up super early. You're gonna be going to bed super late because people need to come before your comfort.
And they sacrifice for themselves, and then now they don't go and eat. They don't have. And you got to remember this too, guys. If you're going to be a first responder and you're going to be part of this, that's great, man. But you've got to take care of yourself first. If you're in the water and you've got a victim and the buoy is coming up, right? You have to let the buoy hit the victim, not you. Because if you get hurt by the buoy, now both of you can't get out of the water.
Sure.
Right? And when you're in the airport and you're in the airplane and they say bring down the mask, they always say put your mask on first before you help the other person. Yeah. Because if you don't, you can't help anybody else, you know?
But you gotta take care of yourself.
So give them one good impassioned plea here, McShanny, to be involved to get in the ball game.
Well, my plea is always scriptural. Pete and I are both pastors. We pastor Life in Action Mission, who we're also collecting donations for Divine Global Recovery. You can do that at www.lifeinactionmission.com, or you could go on our Facebook page and shoot a donation from there. But my plea is scriptural, and it comes from Romans. I believe it's Romans chapter 12, but it says, be creative in hospitality.
There you go.
Be creative in hospitality. Hospitality isn't something we think of that as, you know, we go to a restaurant and somebody's serving us, and
or you're having people over for a barbecue,
or you're bringing your friends over to entertain them. But hospitality should be, it's not a spiritual gift. It's something innate and in you that, as a Christian, as a Christ follower, as a believer, you should be automatically doing this.
There you go. Well,
you should be loving your neighbor.
No matter what. So now I'll give you 2 scriptures to go along with that. Whatsoever that I do for the least of my brother, that you do unto me.
Yeah.
And that's what Jesus told us. So the least, the ones who are really in trouble, whatever you do for them, you're actually doing it for Jesus. And now this one also I'm going to give you is Galatians 6:2. Carry each other's burdens. And in this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ.
That's a good one.
That's a really good one. That tells it straight out, doesn't it? Because again, listen to that very carefully. Carry each other's burdens. Okay, and that's day to day. That's maybe just simple as you see somebody who's having a bad day. You know when you could see, so it's all over their face. So you just go over and say, hey, can I pray with you? Do you need anything? Are you okay? You want to talk about it?
Mm-hmm.
That's carrying each other's burdens. It doesn't take anything other than just some care and some love. And again, you see somebody who's hungry, get them something to eat. You see somebody who's thirsty, get them something to drink. You see someone who doesn't have anything to wear,
you have
help
a friend
them out.
that's home with COVID, send them a DoorDash coupon or a gift card. Do something outside the box, something creative, something not typical.
And then also on the other side, don't be too proud if it's you that needs, okay? A dear friend, my best friend, reached out to me this week, and he's saying that he can't take his son to youth group because he has no gas, and his phone is shut off. And I said, well, let me send you a couple bucks. He wouldn't take it at first. He's like, no, I can't take it from you. You're my best friend. I love you.
Who
I'm
cares?
like, dude,
Cash App it.
just give me a dang Cash App and stop it, okay? Because, look, we got to be there for each other. You pay it forward to somebody, someone will be there for you the next time you need it. And again, carry each other's burdens. And in this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ, whatsoever they do, you know?
Absolutely.
And so, guys, we really want you to just try to pray for the people in Louisiana. See what it is that you can do for them. There's more storms to come, by the way, all right? So I want you to check out, again, the Cajun Navy. I want you to check out Divine Global Recovery. Go to divineglobalrecovery.org. Go to the Facebook page, too. It's got everything on there about us, all the videos from Louisiana. You'll see what those folks are going through right now if you go check them out. We've got about 8 or 10 videos up there from the last couple of days.
If you're an Instagram follower, it's on Instagram.
It's on Instagram also, Twitter as well. Or give us a call at 844-99-DIVINE. I never could think of a more better time to say that it is time to come together, isn't it, Shani?
It is.
This is it, man. We're at a crossroads moment in humanity, where it's either we come together, lock arms, and stand in the gap for those who can't be there for each other, or guess what? It's just going to all implode, okay? Yeah. That's what the devil wants. That's what he's trying to do, okay? He's trying to wreak havoc. He's the author of all fear and all lies, but he's a loser. He's a feckless thug. He's nobody. And Jesus is victorious every time. Put your strength behind him. Put your strength and trust in each other. Carry each other's burdens. And please, my loves, come together. We'll talk to you next week.
The only